Okay, so I'm Matt, and I'm joined today by the one and only Adellion. How are you doing, mate?
Not too bad. How are we doing, folks? You're right.
I'm good. How are you coping with lockdown? Lots of GBL, I assume.
Not as much as I would have liked, but yeah, getting up there at rank 8 now, and so just one of the many grinding up to rank 9 and seeing how far we can go beyond that. Didn't hit rank 10 last season, so hoping to try and get closer this time, but we'll see.
Yeah, long way to go. Yeah, long way to go. It's definitely harder this season. It's definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm actually currently below where I was seeded. So when I hit rank 7, I was 2,300,
Okay.
and now I'm around 2,280. So I've actually gone backwards this week.
Oh dear.
So I think rank 10's out of the question for me this season, but oh well, who cares? So Adellion's here with me to go through my All-Stars Fusion Cup. Adellion is one of the founders or one of the admins of All-Stars, so I'm going to ask him to tell us a bit more about it.
Yeah, sure. So, All-Stars is short for North West AllStars, and it is a PvP collective for the Northwest of England. It was founded by a good friend of mine, a chap called James, or Jamnat, who is the admin for Liverpool. Fantastic player, reached rank 10 in GBL last season, and he came up with the idea that we're all kind of siloed in the Northwest as individual communities trying to do our individual battles, and it'd be nice to have a more collaborative approach with your neighbours. So it started off with Liverpool, Manchester, Stoke-on-Trent and Chester as 4 cities, and then also Carlisle dabbled in it a little bit, and then over the months we've expanded, and Sheffield have got involved, and we've had some great contributions there, including having Matt jump in and start annihilating us in our tournaments. But the key drive was to encourage people from all over the Northwest to gather up physically, do sizable physical tournaments, 6 rounds or above, in person, and also make a social event of it. So we go for food and drinks after, and make hopefully and potentially lifelong friendships over our love for the game. So that's the ethos of All Stars, and the aim is just to make it bigger and bigger, really, in that front.
Yeah, and I think looking back on this, so this was an in-person event, as you say. I know with the current situation we're in, those days seem a long time ago, but yeah, All Stars is about in-person events, really. So anyone who's new to the group, sort of since lockdown started, they've got that to look forward to. And it was a cracking atmosphere, wasn't it? We were sort of in a pub upstairs. It was brilliant. It was really well organised.
Can't go wrong with a pub, can you?
You cannot go wrong with a pub. As long as there's decent signal or Wi-Fi, you can't go wrong. And generally it worked fine as well. Like, there was a couple of hiccups, wasn't there? But I think
there always is, alas. Yeah. But yeah, ideally in the future, and we can set up and do things even better. So let's see what happens.
Grand. Well, Fusion Cup was a really interesting cup. It was only things with double typings were allowed, so it was a really broad meta. But there was a ban on, was it 75,000 Stardust, second move unlocks?
Yes, that's right. So it was quite after afterwards. I think Ferocious was quite expensive on the Stardust. We had Timeless followed by Fusion, and there was the concern just before Fusion came out that with many people being busy with Christmas for their families, there wouldn't be enough time to stock up on the resources for another Sylph Cup. But the Arena, to their massive credit, managed to create a meta which was very accessible, and I'm personally aware of a good few newbies who jumped in from the Northwest alone, tried out their first PvP tournament, or just off the back of how relatively affordable it was. So kudos to the Arena team for that. So, yeah,
because a lot of the core meta stuff was stuff that's, well, A, it's going to be useful for things for other tournaments going forward. B, it's stuff that players who were already playing already had a lot of it, and C, new players, it was, well, the sort of core was Wishcash, Noxowl, Venusaur, Altaria, which are all just 10,000 Stardust. So it was a really cheap one. Um, so going in, my team. So first of all, I felt like with it being such a broad meta, I felt like the skill here was going to be reading your opponent's team. So I built my team in such a way where I wanted to give myself as much coverage as possible. Nothing's there for bench pressure at all. Like it's all got to roll. My team was Wishcash, Noctowl, and Shiftry. They were all pretty meta Pokemon. Some people used Altaria instead of Noctowl, but I liked Noctowl because it could tank the Blizzard from Wishcash, whereas Altaria can't. And some people liked Venusaur over Shiftry, but I liked Shiftry for walling Bronzong, which was big.
Bronzong, was very popular in Fusion. So no, I'm with you on that.
Yeah, I think Lloydie had it on his team when he won, didn't he? And he said it was a beast. So Shiftry was there for that. But then, as a sort of anti-flyer, so for a steel type, like I say, I didn't like Bronzong because it could be farmed by Shiftry, and I was expecting to see a lot of Shiftry. So I used Alolan Sandslash because it beat both the flyers as Bronzong would do, but it also beat Shiftry as well as the Venusaur. So I used Alolan Sandslash as my steel type.
Surprisingly, with Alolan Sandslash, it seems deceptive. But if you can get a little bit of an energy lead on it, while it won't necessarily flip, many matchups with the energy lead, it will still be able to do a fair amount of damage just because of how spammy its charge moves are. So it is a sensible pick even for that as a sort of another side benefit of Slash. So fair play.
And Bulldoze and Ice Punch between them have got fantastic coverage. So he can hit the other steel types with Bulldoze, which is good. And then I went with Lantern as well, which was a bit of a spicy pick because, again, I wasn't expecting many Altarias and more Noctowls. So Lantern sort of covers the anti-flare in that role, but then it also picks up the fire types like Alolan Marowak, which could have been a problem for Sandslash, which was my only anti-flare going forward. So I've got anti-flying options between Lantern and Sandslash now, which is good. And then I picked Wigglytuff as my last because, as I was saying, Wishcash and Noctowl were really core Pokemon. And so having the charm damage to potentially beat them both in 2 shields could be really useful to win switch advantage. So I thought I'd have it there. Pains me a little bit because I don't like using charm as the too one-dimensional for my liking, but it did its job to a certain extent. A little bit weak to a couple of things, particularly with me going for the Lantern. I was a little bit weak to Altarias, especially if they were combined with Charizard.
Because the two Pokemon that you would want to line that up, or to deal with Altaria. The main one you'd ideally like is A-Slash, and Charizard will just have a field day with it. And Wigglytuff can also, of course, deal with Altaria, but fire types resist Charm, so that one Pokemon can cover both Pokemon that you would use to take out Altaria. So I see where you're coming from there.
I mean, Marowak was also a bit of an issue, but because Shiftry was Dark type and Noctowl walls it into next week, it wasn't so much of an issue. But I was hoping that having the 2 water types there would put my opponent off using fire types anyway, because I really like Sandslash. I think Sandslash is excellent, so there's a little bit of bench pressure in that sense. Also, Magneton and Magnezone, I'm a bit weak to those, but they weren't particularly common, so hopefully I won't see too many of them. And Alolan Ninetales is a bit of an issue, and that will come into play, unfortunately. Alolan Ninetales is a bit of an issue because my Steel type is an Ice type, so I'm doing resistant damage back to it. So you might expect Sandslash to beat it, but if it double shields, it can beat me and it can take on Sandslash. So I was hoping not to see any Alolan Ninetales. So with that, let's get into the matches in round 1.
Sounds good.
Round 1 was against ORANGEPIKE. Their team Altaria, which was setting off alarm bells immediately because that means automatically I don't want to use Lantern. So yeah, Altaria, Marowak, Venusaur, Wigglytuff, Probopass, and Wishcash. Wishcash looks really good for me here. It'll take everything on apart from the Venusaur. So I think game 1 I want to lead Wishcash, play the numbers game, and then have my Noctowl and Sandslash in the back to protect it. So let's see how it goes.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's see what happens. So you get a Whiscash mirror.
Yeah. So on the morning of the tournament, I'd powered up this Wishcash. It was a rank 30. It was an improvement on the rank 200. I sort of thought, well, it's going to be such an important Pokemon. It's worth having the good rank if I can.
Yeah, absolutely. So they both sides have gone for a Mud Bomb to try and bait, and that hasn't worked out. But okay, so another Mud Bomb, which your opponent will now expect. Okay, yeah. So that's gone through.
Yeah, so I think if I remember rightly, if you land the Blizzard in the mirror, you win.
Yeah, of course. So he's now put back-to-back Mud Bombs in. So the question is whether a shield's used here. No, it isn't. So it just about survives, and the key here is just able to launch another Mud Bomb off before it goes away, which is decisive. Which leads to a double knockout. Okay,
yeah, I don't see that very often.
Yeah, no, you don't.
Now, unfortunately, my opponent didn't know to wait. So I get the hindsight of being able to see that.
Yeah.
So I bring Noctowl into the Sandslash, into the Marowak rather than the Sandslash.
And now it's going to be very tricky because aside from Wild Frenzy Plant can do a decent amount of damage to A-Slash, Alolan Sandslash can just literally resist everything the Venusaur will throw at it nonetheless. So as long as we can keep the Frenzy Plants shielded, this should be easy to beat. Oh no, but maybe not. Oh, okay.
Well, I've got 2 shields with the Noctowl, and what I didn't want was to let the Marowak come in with some fire spins and get a bit of energy. So I thought Noctowl's pretty dominant against them both. So
yes, and you can shield against everything here, and then farm up with the by taking out the Venusaur, and then just launch a barrage on the Alolan Marowak.
Yeah,
and that should work out quite nicely. Touch wood.
Yeah, so yeah, it was pretty comfortable because of my opponent coming in with the switch or not waiting out the timer. But I think, there's nothing to say I wouldn't have gone into Noctowl anyway. And even if I had made the wrong choice, Noctowl was so dominant there, it might have worked out for me anyway.
Yeah, sure. Precisely. No. I think that's a fair logic there. Yeah. But it just goes to show when on the rare occasion then there is a double knockout, do wait until the last moment. There's even been occasions where I've been so 50-50 about the 2 Pokemon that I'd pick that I've actually let the timer run out, and on one occasion it's let the game almost pick for me in a way, just because it can only go one way or the other, and I just don't know what. Oh, anyway. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, I do the same sometimes. So I mix it up. I use the same 3, but I leave Noctowl trying to catch the Venusaur, and then I
get hard countered, which is a downer. But let's see if this bulldoze goes through. It does, which is good, which is really good.
Yeah, it does a lot of damage, like you were saying. So whilst it looks like it's a hard loss, it'll still take a few chunks out of the Marowak.
Exactly, and the Ice Punch has been come off as well, which he shielded. So even though it was a hard counter, it's a really bad. It still ended up quite badly for your opponent, just because he's had to consume a shield. He's lost 75% of his Alolan Marowak's health. That is not great. That's not what you want from a hard counter. So not ideal.
Yeah. I've gone into Wishcash there rather than Noctowl because I'm almost guaranteed that he's got Venusaur in the back because he has to. Otherwise, he loses to Wishcash.
There we have it. Yeah.
So I go into that to get some use out of it, knowing I can save the Noctowl for the Venusaur.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I'm in the situation where Noctowl's got both shields against 2 of my opponent's Pokemon.
Yep, and he's not actually brought a hard counter. He hasn't brought brought his Probopass. So he's hoping to charm down your Noctowl with Wigglytuff, which is indeed what he's done now. So now we have to see whether whether Noctowl is able to outbulk the Charm and churn out the damage with these Sky Attacks, which are really, really chunking him down.
I think I go for the farm down here just so I can get the Sky Attack on Venusaur. Otherwise,
they'd launch a Sludge Bomb too quickly.
Yeah.
So this is good, and then the Sky Attack comes in, which should be GG.
Yeah. So the farm down there was key. So that's 2-0. Game 3, I mix it up a bit. I play super aggressive and I lead Shiftry to try and catch the Whiscash. But I don't.
Not ideal. Poor Shiftry does not like this matchup whatsoever. Straight into the Noctowl, which has a relatively safe switch, which seems sensible.
I didn't want my Sandslash to get caught by the Marowak straight away again, like last game. So I thought, go to Noctowl, it'll do okay.
And what's interesting, he's deciding to stay in Wigglytuff, which suggests that that he is concerned about the Noctowl enough to want to eliminate it early. So the thought process comes in that what is the other two members of his team, and they must have some kind of weakness to Noctowl if he's willing to not switch and react to your Noctowl coming in. So this is a good thought process, I feel, to have, where if you make a switch and you give up switch advantage in essence, and your opponent doesn't take that opportunity to switch to a counter of some sort, be it hard or soft, then you've got to ask yourself the question, why?
Yeah, exactly. And I sort of came into this match knowing he was always going to have Venusaur. So I knew Venusaur was one. And at this point, when he didn't switch, you could sort of figure out that it was going to be the Marowak as the other one. So I've still got a shield, so it's still going to be close to this because Marowak's weak to the dark stab from Shiftry. So it's still going to be the way.
And that foul play does a huge amount of damage. And what's key here as well is the Shiftry is able to get 2 foul plays off before the Venusaur can even get off anything, which is vital win there. And then it's just a matter of racing to the charge move to see who survives long enough. But I question whether you can get there in time. No.
Yeah, didn't go through, and then he comes in and just finishes me off with a fire spin. So really close game actually. But considering you started off with one of the worst, being completely sort of hard counted in essence, because that Wigglytuff will eat Shiftry for breakfast. That's to get it that close isn't actually that bad at all. Yeah, it's one of the beauties of Shiftry. It's weak to Charm, of course. It's weak to the Flyers, of course, whatever. But it's going to hit something hard. It's going to hit everything hard with something, So that's why I like Shiftry. So let's move on to round 2. Moving swiftly on. JKG. JKG 5150. Top guy. He's using Noctowl, Venusaur, Whiscash, Alolan Sandslash, Bronzong, and one of my favourite Pokemon, Frostlass.
Now that's interesting as well. He's going for a double ice strat.
Yeah, and Frostlass is fairly safe against me actually. Because the Shadow Balls will hit, or the Avalanches will hit anything hard. So I've got to be careful not to let the Frostlass get too much energy. Again, he's got the Venusaur, so I'm going to have to bring Sandslash or Noctowl or both every game. Because I can't rely on Wigglytuff to take out Venusaur, as I can rely on it to take out Shiftry's. So I'm expecting myself to bring Noctowl and Sandslash here. But actually in game 1, I lead with Noctowl and I bring double water in the back. So whatever happens, I need to save my Noctowl for the Venusaur.
Yes, absolutely. So let's see what comes out first, and it comes out with the Whiscash. So this is good, but you have to watch out for the Blizzard, I guess. So good chance to farm up some energy. Okay, immediate Sky Attack. Okay, fair.
Yeah, so I know I've got to switch out of this because I've got to save my Noctowl.
So it's just a question of what is he going to do? Yep. So shield just in case it is a Blizzard. Oh, good call on that one.
Yep.
The question is whether he shields this or lets it go in order to save a shield. Oh no, he shields it, so he wants to try and rush for another Blizzard, I guess.
Yeah, so he had a bit of lag, so I waited and we were talking. We got that all sorted out.
Okay, that's cool. That's good. And so managed to get another sky attack off, which
And I
means
think a
he has to
switch.
use 2 shields.
Yeah.
Ah, okay, now that's a play. That's a play.
So I've got, as I say, I've got to save Noctowl, and if it was a Blizzard, really didn't want to be tanking that. And going to Wishcash baits out the Venusaur as well.
Yep.
So I'm going to lose this matchup, but
you will be able to farm the following matchup, and he is switch locked, so he can't do anything about that.
And it gets rid of Lantern's only counter as well. So
yes, that's true.
So if I can save a shield here as well. Lantern with Water Gun, it didn't have Spark at this point, but with Water Gun it actually beats Wishcash in the 0 shields, because it'll tank a couple of Mud Bombs and it'll get to the Hydro Pump first before the 3rd Mud Bomb. So Lantern is really quite handy, especially in shields down. So the Sandslash comes in, not ideal for Noctowl by any means, but this is where Lantern's going to go to town.
And you're able to farm up a fair amount of energy and shield the potential Bulldoze, or maybe not in this case, because it's not Bulldoze does do decent damage, but it is not like as overpowering as Earthquake.
No.
So
yeah, and I thought it might be baiting me because I've still got a shield left. So I thought not to bother. And yeah, Noctowl comes in to finish off the Wishcash. So that aggressive approach worked game 1. Game 2, however, I played much safer. Now I'm in the lead. So I go back to the Wishcash lead with the double Venusaur counters in the back, Noctowl and Sandslash. And that's going to be a bit of a theme throughout this tournament, I think.
Yes, because it's just there's so much encouragement for them to bring the Venusaur in with those 2 waters, and the Wigglytuff as well doesn't really like sludge bombs.
Yeah.
So he's opted for the mirror. He's led with Alolan Sandslash and then opted for the mirror, and you've hit the Blizzard off, which means that's a big win for you. And the question is that, and he manages to. This is the key moment where you realise why you are not Noctowl instead of Alterians in these situations. Yeah.
But yeah, I can always get to a Sky Attack before the Blizzard, so I forced the shield out of him. Yeah, so I bring Noctowl straight into Wishcash just to keep it away from Alolan Sandslash as much as anything else. Could have stayed in with the mirror, but played out the mirror, but that seems silly.
Yes, because now his Alolan Sandslash, it hasn't really serving any purpose.
Yeah.
And that's how ideally you want battle. So you want to line up things so that you remove Pokemon that are going to be a disadvantage to you, based on the remaining Pokemon you have. Now,
Sure.
Good thing he's lost both shields at this point, hasn't he?
He has now, yeah.
Yes. Oh, sorry. I wasn't sure whether he was you'd lost both shields and therefore you were going to rush for the Blizzard. But either way, swapping to Alolan Sandslash, and now it's Farm City at this point. Well, maybe not Farm City, but with one cheeky Ice Punch, the rest can be probably farmed down if you got a shield.
Yeah, and I shielded the Frenzy Plant just because, it'll do a chunk, and I don't know what his last thing is yet, so I might need the health.
Yes.
I do know that last thing is Sandslash, isn't it? So going into the mirror with a shield up and a bit of energy. Yeah, it's game. So that makes it 2-0. And we were joking around at this point that, you're going to use Frostlass against me, James. Go on, get on with it. Don't beat me with Frostlass. So I was expecting to see Frostlass in the last game. So at this point, I'm sort of like thinking in my head about how I can beat Frostlass. So I think I lead with Lantern, just to try and catch that out. And again, Lantern's good anyway, as long as he doesn't lead Venusaur. So he leads.
And he does bring the Frostlass. Okay.
Yeah, I sort of goad him into leading the Frostlass. The longer this goes on, the better for me, because the water guns are doing good damage and the powder snows aren't. So I shield this to keep, just to get more water gun damage on him. Go for the Thunderbolt. There's plenty of damage.
Because we would like to, the more damage we can get on this Frostlass, the harder it will be for him to use it on your 2 other Pokemon, none of whom can really resist. And even though Shadow Ball will do neutral damage on the Lantern, the Lantern can still tank the Shadow Balls a little bit better than a lot of the rest of the team, I would say.
Yeah, for sure.
Noctowl can, of course, tank it way better, but no Frostlass would use Shadow Ball on a Noctowl, so it's a non-issue.
Yeah, for sure. Again, I'm not shielding this. There's no way I'm going to reach a Hydro Pump anytime soon, so I'm not going to waste the shield there.
Yep, makes sense.
And I've got switch advantage now, which is good because it means I don't have to. It means I can keep Sandslash away from Wishcash.
Yes. And I wonder what his final Pokemon is, because he's not switching out, which suggests to me he's not running his Alolan Sandslash or his Bronzong in there. So
but then he makes the play. What a switch! Yeah, catches the Sky Attack with the Sandslash. So I go into my own Sandslash.
Straight away, I have to get out of that. He's built up enough energy to pull off a Bulldoze, and he might as well do this. Oh no, maybe not.
Yeah, he gets the bait. So it's scary. This could go either way. So I land the Bulldoze, which is good. Then he comes to Wishcash.
And this is where the Mud Bomb won't KO though, so there's a good chance you can get off at least one Ice Punch.
So I go for the Bulldoze because it's more damage. So I don't think I'm going to get to 2 Ice Punches.
Yeah, fair enough.
Doesn't kill.
Doesn't
and
kill.
Then I end the recording there because I forget that I have Noctowl in the back. So what actually happened there, so I thought I'd lost, so I ended the recording. What actually happened was Noctowl came in and farmed it down. So I actually won that. But it was one of those moments where in the heat of the moment you forget what you've got going on. So ended up winning that. But
and again, that's the perk with the both the pro and con of physical tournaments as well, where with remotes there's in some ways there's slightly less tension because you're not like reading your opponent face to face, and sometimes the stresses of physical tournament are a little bit greater in some ways. So yeah, I feel you on that one.
Yeah. So 2-0, so that's good. Round 3, Red Rocket James.
Great and absolutely hilarious character, this one.
Yeah, fantastic. Really, really good fun to battle him. And he has an interesting team as well. So he's got double steel with Probopass and Bronzong. He's also got the Noctowl Wishcash core, and he's got Heracross and Shiftry. Heracross being a really interesting pick.
Yeah.
So to be honest, I have no idea what to do against him. I just don't know what to do.
The only hard counter you have perhaps is the Noctowl, but then Wigglytuff I believe can beat Heracross if it shouldn't shield the close combat. Maybe?
Yeah, Wigglytuff will beat Heracross.
Yes.
So in the end, what I choose to do is I just choose to lead with Wigglytuff. I mean, it beats, if I double shield it, it'll beat the Noctowl, the Wishcash, I believe anyway, the Heracross and the Shiftry. So, I've got a 4 out of 6 chance of winning switch advantage. And then I've got the Sandslash and Wishcash in the back to ensure me against a steel type lead, which wouldn't be great for me, leading the Wigglytuff. So there's the Wigglytuff lead, and he's got Probopass, yeah. So switch instantly to Sandslash. So now I can head into the Bulldoze, and I want to save that Wishcash matchup for later.
Interesting, he's swapped to another steel type. And perhaps, I don't know whether that was not deliberately not shielding in order to incorrectly call a bait and get the Bulldoze up.
Must have been.
Bait successful here.
Yeah. So I'm just going to go for Ice Punches now because Ice Punches will finish him off from here. So yeah, get the bait, which is good. Go for another one. I expect it to kill. I get the shield again, which is fantastic. Bit of lag. Comes in. Now I know I shield this because I know I can win back switch advantage and keep the Wigglytuff away from Probopass. So yeah, winning switch advantage here was huge.
And there goes the Zong. And okay, and now the Heracross comes in. And this is where it's perfect because if he switches out, you've got the hard counter to the Progress with a bit of lag. Well, not lag, a bit of switch glitching.
Yeah, they were the good old days.
Oh, don't worry, they'll come back round again.
Oh, I'm sure.
The good thing, one thing you can read from here is the fact that he's used Rock Slide he's used rock Slide. I don't know whether he meant to do that because you switched in time, or whether that was just the best he had against the Whiscash. But Whiscash and Mudboys in general can just wall Probopass for ages, so it's a perfect farming opportunity in many cases as well. So just something to bear in mind for those watching.
Yeah, game 2 I use the same 3, but lead Sandslash this time, and again I get caught. So straight to the Wiggly to try and get some chunks off it.
Oh, he brings in the Noctowl.
Yeah.
Which, so either he's done that deliberately because he does have the hard counter in the back, or he's not running his steel types. So we'll see.
Yeah, now at this point I know in order for me to win, I've got to land a Blizzard on the Heracross, so I need to save this shield for Wishcash to land a Blizzard on Heracross. So I have to let Wigglytuff die there. But it gets me a bit of use out of my Sandslash as well, so it's good. So I can farm this down.
Yeah, that's perfect. And then just get ready for the Heracross. Oh no, but he's bringing. Okay, so he did have a steel type, so he did opt to make Noctowl the soft counter, as it were, if that against the Wiggly, but it did work.
Yeah, well that's why I was going for Ice Punch rather than Bulldoze straight away, because I thought he can't have got a steel type, and otherwise he'd have brought it in against Wigglytuff. So it might have been a miss switch on his part, or a next level play or something. But but as I say, I know that Sandslash isn't useful for me because he's got Heracross. But I'm in a good position here
to save it. Yeah, and this is good. Yeah.
So as I say, I need to save my shield to block the close combat from Heracross, so I can land my Blizzard. So I'm farming up. Throwing the Mud Bomb to kill.
Another thing that sometimes with people farming up is there is a limit to how much you can farm. So the key thing is we want to farm enough to carry as much energy as possible into the next match without obviously compromising on our health too much and not going over the 100 energy cap. So something to be mindful of for those players who are hoping to move to that ace or elite level, to always keep a good counter of your energy. Third bad lead in a row. What's going on?
I know. Yeah, I go back to my strategy from game 1. Rather than worrying about a new strategy or whatever, after being 2-0 up, I thought, well, it's worked once, let's try again. Yeah, third bad lead, so it's not ideal.
Going for the bait here, that does work, so that's a bonus there. So the question is whether he goes for... Oh no, you managed to get to a Bulldoze in time. And this time he does shield correctly. He's farmed up a little bit of extra energy, I suspect, before he's gone for the KO, which is fair enough.
Yeah.
It's perfectly timed as well, so as soon as he switches out, you switch out again in response, and this is where we can rain the pain.
Yeah.
The question is whether this is a close combat or not, but well, it is. But there's a part of you that's like, why do you want to keep the Wigglytuff going when you know he has a Pro-O in the back?
Precisely.
With the defense but drop as well, it's easy to farm down, and then it's in essence a shooting range at this point.
Yeah.
Mudboy versus Pro-O.
Yeah. So again, we know Blizzard isn't going to kill, but I've got a shield, so I'll be able to get to 2 by blocking the Sky type when it comes in. Yeah, there it is.
And that's all she wrote.
Yeah, so that was a huge relief because that team could have been really problematic for me. I managed to negotiate my way through that quite nicely despite the 3 bad leads. So I was really pleased with that. Round 4. Now this is where it went wrong. So we were saying that I was weak to Alolan Ninetales. I faced an Alolan Ninetales this time. Piloted by VTENACITY as well. They're the best player in the country with the thing I'm weakest to.
These are not good odds.
No. So his team is Alolan Ninetales, Alolan Marowak, Noctowl, Shiftry, Wishcash, Bronzong, so fairly standard.
Yeah. I think probably the Alolan Ninetales is if anything spicy about the team, it is the Alolan Ninetales. But yeah, we can definitely see why it will be problematic.
Yeah, for sure. So I know, like I say, I don't really have a counter to it, so it's worth bringing the Sandslash. I can't bring Shiftery. Just because I can't afford to have anything that's not good against the Ninetales. Everything I've got needs to be able to hit back. So Wiggly feels like a safe lead. It can take on more or less everything apart from the Bronzong. Marowak will give it a hard time, but it'll do a fair chunk. So I'll lead with the Wiggly, and then I'll put Wishcash and Sandslash in the back to sort of protect it from Marowak and Alolan Ninetales, should it be needed.
Yeah, sure, that makes sense. It's also deceptive with the Wiggly versus Alolan Marowak matchup because the AWAC will want to just launch Bone Clubs, which are low damage and not stab, against the Wigglytuff, just simply because Shadow Ball does so little damage to a normal type. So that allows the Wiggly to churn out more damage onto the Alolan Marowak just through Charm alone, which may help tip the balance in some battles. Yeah,
spot on. So yeah, that's why I thought Wiggly wasn't too bad a lead.
Makes sense.
So yeah, it's just a case of here need to really target down that Ninetales, just because it's gonna be a pain otherwise. So he leads the Wishcash. I'm feeling fairly okay here. Just need to watch out for the Blizzard. So I don't shield the first one, thinking he might be baiting or going for the double, but he Blizzards me.
Those are always going to be tricky 50-50 calls, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
This is where the Mud Bomb's coming in, and in order to keep switch advantage, will cost him a shield. But he brings out the Alolan Ninetales at the right time.
Yeah, no, that was a bad switch for me because oh no, it wasn't. Yeah, I'm thinking of the next game. So yeah, I had to shield the Mud Bomb because I had so much energy on the Wigglytuff. I didn't want that to go to waste.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's probably one of the drawbacks with Wigglytuff. It takes so long to get its charge moves going because of the slow energy generation of Charm.
So I went for the bait. I went for the bait there with the Ice Punch, and he let it through. And then when I go for the Bulldoze, he blocks it as well. So
it's two bouts of bad luck.
Yeah,
I do recall. I think as well, most people were running Ice Punch Bulldoze on the Alolan Sandslash. I don't think we saw too many with Gyro Ball instead, which would have been a real surprise. It was a lot more popular and ferocious to have a bit of spice and put in Gyro Ball rather than Bulldoze. Whereas here, I think Bulldoze was a necessity because of all the steel walls that would otherwise be there.
For sure.
In this cup. Anyway.
Yeah, so it's not good here. I'm down to my Wishcash with no shields, and he's still got 3 Pokemon and a shield. So yeah, game one, that's more or less all she wrote, really. Again, seeing how Noctowl can tank the Blizzard there.
Yep. Didn't even have to use a shield, and then now the next Sky Attack comes in.
Yeah, so it doesn't quite finish me off, but I don't bother launching a Blizzard there because, well, I don't know why I even bothered with a Mud Bomb there. It was game over, but I don't know what I'm doing.
Perhaps just go out with a final hurrah.
Yeah, perhaps just buy myself a bit more time to think about what went wrong. So this time, I know he's not led, and I've not seen Bronzong game one, so I'm going to lead with Noctowl because that's a bit extra bulk. I haven't seen Shiftery, so I'm going to bring Lantern because that's a bit extra bulk. And I'm going to bring the Wigglytuff as a swap if I need to try and win the switch. So a fairly good matchup here. I block because I want to keep myself healthy, but he baits me. Yeah, not good.
Not ideal, that.
I was absolutely fuming at the end of the Sky Attack.
Good news that to get the second Sky Attack off before he puts you in a 50-50 bait game again. And then here, it's decision time.
Yeah, I want to save my shields, and of course, Blizzard, yeah.
And then I think there's a running theme here. He wants to, as soon as he gets something low, he wants to farm down with the Alolan Ninetales, safe in the knowledge that it is a relative safe switch. But Wiggly's holding up pretty well.
But that was a bad switch, though, because I should have gone to Lantern there to keep Lantern away from Wishcash. but I was in such a panic.
Yeah, because you have to be so quick to react to a Charmer, because it's like Charmers and Razor Leafers are two of the ones where you just have to be keep your eye on the ball in terms of as soon as you see that Pokemon, it goes out. We do have a benefit that now in the game we have the types come up before the animations do for the Pokemon, which helps.
Yeah,
but
this was way back when, back in the good old days. Yeah, so now I'm in a position where a Lantern gets locked in against the Wishcrash, so I have to use my shield. But again, I don't necessarily think I would have won had I made the other switch, but it would have been closer for sure.
Mm-hmm.
The Sky Attack's resisted, but Thunderbolt's not going to kill. Yeah, Noctowl's so bulky.
Well, yeah, if a Blizzard won't do it.
Well, yeah, precisely. It does a lot.
Decent damage though, yeah, decent amount. Consider, like, if you compare with Blizzard, that's still pretty good.
Yeah. So I mean, it was close, but maybe if I'd have made the other switch, I might have won. So 2-0 down. So I'm thinking, balls to the wall. I'm going to bring Shiftry at some point to try and get some energy on the Wishcash, but I don't lead it, so I missed that chance. So I've got lead with the Lantern and moves into the Wishcash. So I safe swapped to my Wigglytuff.
And he's safe swapped into his Ninetales.
Yeah.
The good thing about that is if you have brought Shiftry, this means trying to cripple or eliminate the Alolan Ninetales will be good in a way.
Yeah, for sure. Just wish I could have caught the Wishcrash lead with it, but it's not to be. So
Alolan Ninetales is out, and this is where will scare out the Wishcash. But it does have 2 shields, and one downside with Shiftry is that all its grass damage comes from the charge attacks. So there have been occasions where if say a Mudboy like Whiscash or Swampert has a sizable shield advantage, it can get to Sludge Wave or Blizzard before Shiftry can launch 3 Leaf Blades.
Yeah, I remember Elfidel was running a strategy in this. He was running a double Mudboy strategy, so he was using Swampert to bait out the Shiftry, hoping he could get to a Sludge Wave with a bit of energy. Then he'd lose the Swampert, let it die, bring in something to kill the Shiftry, and then sweep with Wishcash at the end. So yeah, it was a good strategy for sure. The being no grass fast move and Shiftry can cause that situation, as you say, but it's going to get Bullet Seed soon for Community Day, so that'll all change, of course.
Yes, that will make it interesting in some metas. I think for GBL, I think they're still saying Snarl is possibly going to be more popular, but
because of the Altaria matchup.
Yes, but you never know. Always good. This is the nature about PvP and why it's such a good concept in the game. It's just allowed so many new Pokemon to flourish.
There's always a way to use something, isn't there?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So that wasn't great. Got my behind handed to me on a silver platter by VTENACITY there.
He does tend to do that a bit, I feel.
He's got a habit of it, hasn't he? He's got a habit of it. But
Fantastic player.
Yeah, exactly. If you're going to lose to good players. That's how to do it.
Speaking of good players.
Yeah, speaking of good players. Yeah, I was hoping I might get an easier round 5 after the loss, but no, I get Hawkeye.
Background on Hawkeye, he's one of the strong players from the Liverpool area, and very, very analytical minded chap. He's also helps to mentor a lot of the newer players in All-Stars, so all-round good guy. Lovely person to have a bevy with as well. So I'm quite excited. His mind works in entertaining ways when it comes to battle. So this is always going to be a good one.
Yeah. So his team is Wigglytuff, Alolan Sandslash, Marowak, Wishcash, Noctowl, and then the Venusaur again. So again, Noctowl and Sandslash are going to be big for me here. With the Marowak being there as well, Noctowl in particular is going to have to be big because that can deal with the Venusaur and the Marowak. Whereas Sandslash, as we've seen, melts quite literally to the fire spins.
Yep.
So Wishcash is going to be important for me as well to take on the Marowak. or even Lantern perhaps, but I can't see myself bringing Lantern here. So I remember, I think I play an aggressive lead here with Alolan Sandslash to try and catch the Venusaur lead, or if he does lead Wigglytuff, trying to win switch, trying to win the switch advantage, and I'll stop him from doing that. So yeah, quite an aggressive lead with Sandslash coming up, I believe. Yeah, there we have it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna catch him.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So he'll back out of this potentially. Let's just see. Oh, he's choosing not to.
Yeah.
Now. So he's just again, at this point you should be thinking, why is he not doing it immediately? What is he hoping to gain by staying in? That should be the thought process on every battler's mind at this point. Like, why? Why would he stay in a bad matchup? But consider all things considered, the Wigglytuff, despite resisting, despite its charms being resisted, still does a fair amount of chunk damage there. A bit of lag.
Yeah, it's chunking through. So yeah, I managed to get the Ice Punch off without, even despite the lag. But he's going to win switch advantage off me anyway. So yeah, can't bring Shifter in, so straight into Noctowl. But I'm expecting he's got Venusaur. He almost has to, and I'm expecting he's got Alolan Marowak as well, because
he opts for the play rough as well. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm expecting to see Venusaur and Marowak, but there's Shiftery. So yeah, he could have switched Wishcash into Sandslash, but I'd have switched straight out. So that's why he
stayed in. Now he switches in. Yeah. And this is where now it's time to, with the energy advantage, it's a race to get to 2 foul plays before the Venusaur gets to a Sludge Bomb, and that does happen, which is good in this
Shifter
case.
is insanely fast.
Because the other deceptive thing when you're counting the fast moves of Shiftry is that the first, I believe the first... Oh no, you got a Blizzard off in the... Oh, okay, so that changes the dynamics of things. I thought... a Leaf Blade would have come off.
Yeah, just shy of it, but the Noctowl does the job. So I got game 2. I go to a more conventional line. Like I was a bit risky there. So with the Noctowl lead with Wishcash and Sandslash in the back. And I guess that sort of game 1 was that's what I meant about trying to read your opponent's team. And then so making an aggressive play. I did a similar thing in round 2 versus JKG. Going for the slightly more aggressive, risky lead.
Yes, just to scout out how your opponent reacts. And here it's been quite good because now you did catch the Venusaur lead with the Noctowl. He switches out, you immediate switch out into a counter, and then it's it's a mudslinging match from the Mud Boy. Yeah,
and again it keeps the Mud Boy away from Venusaur, so it's it's a double win for me here, really. Yeah, winning the lead certainly helped massively here. And then
shield necessary just to get off another Mud Bomb and cripple the Alolan Sandslash. And there we go. And maintain switch advantage as well, which is great.
Now here, I'm hoping he might shield it. There's no way I'm going to get to a blizzard. I may as well throw it, and he shields it, so that's nice. Now here, I go into Sandslash because if he's got Marowak in the back or Wishcash in the back, I don't want to get that caught against Sandslash. Whereas Noctowl will take it on. So as we were saying at the beginning before this game, Noctowl being key, I want to save that as well as I can. So use Sandslash, get the use out of Sandslash.
And your prediction was correct here.
Yeah.
But just to make Noctowl's job a little bit easier, we'll launch a Bulldoze off and then switch out. And then is this going to be a bait or a blizzard is the question at this point. It has to be all or nothing.
Yeah.
So it goes for the blizzard. And then it's within farming distance at this point.
Yeah. So that's 2-0. Third game I go in with the Wigglytuff lead to try and win the switch.
Works out. Well,
I can't remember. I know that I've got Noctowl and Sandslash in the back. So I should be shielding here to try and win the switch, but looks like I don't. It's only a mud bomb.
Good call. Yeah, good call. Good call. I mean, I think Wiggly would have tanked a Blizzard at that point, would have put it straight into the red, which would be not be great. Second mud bomb comes in, so your opponent's quite keen to get the Wiggly out of the way, and a third one comes in as well.
Yeah.
But this is where, again, it's good to shield perhaps and hold on to that energy for the next thing that comes out.
For sure.
We just have to see what that is. And he's gone for the mirror. So I presume you probably hit the charge move before the Pokemon came out. So
yeah,
it's one of them ones, but it doesn't matter. It didn't matter in the grand scheme of things.
So I've retained switch advantage, and I've not lost my shield.
And while Alolan Sandslash is a counter to the Venusaur, it makes sense for you to switch out to the Noctowl simply because you want to keep the A-Slash available against the Wigglytuff, I'm guessing.
Spot on, yeah, spot on.
Yeah.
So I don't need to shield here either. So I'd rather save the shield for Sandslash.
And just farm down the Venusaur with the Sandslash, which I think is doable.
Yeah, again, don't shield here. Perhaps a bit risky. Perhaps I should have done because the charms will do a lot of damage. But I've got plenty of energy, so I can probably just double Ice Punch here and. Or maybe double Ice Punch isn't going to take it out. It might take 3.
Oh right, yeah.
So yeah, perhaps a bit risky to have not shielded, but doesn't really matter. 2-0 up. Yeah, and I get the third. So Sandslash being an absolute monster there to win the third. So
yeah.
Yeah, so 4-1. Going into the final round, Nplum.
Oh yes, now Nplum's one of the is the admin for Stoke-on-Trent, and he's a technical guru when it comes to Discord and various other things. So he's been instrumental with some of the setups for All-Stars as well. And he's all around good guy, and he works in a bar, which is always a good thing because we know how much we love venues like that.
Yeah,
Anywho.
Sure. So yeah, top. I only met him this once, but top guy, really friendly guy. We had a good laugh about everything. Yeah, it was good. So his team had the Wishcrash Noctowl, the Shiftry, another Heracross, Togekiss here as the Charmer, which is an interesting call. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then he's got the Magneton, which
you didn't want to see, did you?
No, yeah, slightly concerned about that. I mean, I know Wishcrash has a really strong matchup against it, but Wigglytuff, Noctowl, Sandslash, and Shiftry don't really want to be taking moves from it.
And also, I recall at this point the Togekiss still had the old version of Ancient Power, because after this point, at one point, Ancient Power got nerfed in terms of its damage output. So this Togekiss can be quite lethal in some matchups.
Sure. Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, and another thing to point out about Togekiss as a Charmer here is that Shiftry, if it gets a Leaf Blade on Wigglytuff or Alolan Ninetales as the Charmer, the Leaf Blade will still do 40-45%. Togekiss being the Flying type, it won't do that much damage. So a bit stronger against the Shiftry, which is, I mean, it's a minor thing, but it's worth bearing in mind. So I lead Wigglytuff in game 1 to try and win the switch advantage. It was a bit of a go-to play when I wasn't sure what to do. And then I've got Sandslash as a sort of safe-ish switch with Wishcrash in the back, because I mean Sandslash is safe-ish because if he goes to Heracross to counter me, I can then farm with Wigglytuff. So bad lead. Yeah. So I do my safe switch to Sandslash.
And he goes into the. Oh, he has the. What's he going to do? Is he going to drop the Steel move? Yep, he does, and that does a rather impressive amount of damage.
Yeah.
The
Niall. Go for the
go for that. Yeah. Okay. Now the question is, it does work, so that's good. And now the question is whether you can get to Bulldoze in time. Just missing out on it.
Yeah, got to go for that Bulldoze.
Yeah, because that will force him to use a second shield, no doubt. Because at this low point, there is no benefit to ice punching, and he lets it through. Okay, interesting call there. Is he trying to farm down with the Alolan Sandslash? Okay, so he's trying to go with the Shiftry and farm it down, but that didn't work out very nicely because you're able to.
So fast to charge, and ice punch being low energy.
Yeah, and that's decisive. And now this is where Shiftry really does struggle.
So I don't shield this because charm, I'll still do plenty of damage to whatever he's got in the back. So I'm probably not going to reach a charge move, so I don't bother shielding. And as it happens, it's Wish Cash. So I've got the mirror in the back anyway with shield advantage, so it's GG really.
And you managed to get the Ice Punch off. I think the key moment was not killing off the Alolan Sandslash in time. I think sometimes we can overestimate how the damage Snarl does, which isn't very much at all.
Absolutely.
So fine margins at that point.
Yeah. So I don't shield this just in case he's got another Leaf Blade tucked away on the Shiftry. So I need to save that shield just in case. I knew it was far too early to be a Blizzard, so no rush. So yeah, and then
you were right. Good call there.
Yes, then just one mud shot to finish it off. I think same 3 in game 2, but with the Sandslash lead. So what happens? Another bad lead.
Oh dear. So he's gonna well-timed switch there into the mirror. So all that energy from the Whiscash getting somewhat wasted goes into the Shiftry.
Yeah, I was expecting the Shiftry counter switch there, so I didn't need to waste the shield on the Whiscash, knowing that I was going to die anyway. So come back into farm up with Sandslash. Get off the Ice Punch just before he gets to a foul play. So
he decides to shield.
Yeah. Now I'm not going to shield this because I know the Sandslash is a liability because I know he's got the Whiscash. As it turns out, it's a Leaf Blade, so it works out for me because it means I can get to another Ice Punch.
And consumes the second shield in the process, which is good.
Again, don't think I'm going to shield because of the strange.
Maybe. But now maybe you shielded because at that time the switch clock had reset, and he's now switched out of the matchup to save your Shiftry, and you immediately counter switched, and so this is going to be good because regardless of what this is, the shield means you can then just farm down potentially, or maybe not.
Nah, Mud Bomb's not going to kill in time. Yeah, no, that's a good point. I saw that the timer was almost back up, so saw it as an opportunity to save the Sandslash, perhaps. Makes sense. Magneton. So I think I'm just going to have to try and power through it here.
Yep, and it does surprising amount of damage with Play Rough despite being resisted.
There's the thing. So I forgot to mention this. I wasn't running Play Rough. I was running Dazzling Gleam. Because
sorry.
Sorry, I should have mentioned that. But it's an important point because in the Zero Shields, I believe, you actually beat Marowak with Dazzling Gleam. The extra damage tips the match. I should have mentioned that. But there we go. It's round 3. So I won the last one. So a last hurrah for the Spicy Lantern, and I get a nice lead finally. This is
perfect. This is perfect because you have 2 waters. His main anti-water Shiftry is about to go down just from being farmed down by Charm alone. So this is a strong position, made even stronger at this point. So Magneton comes in. The Wigglytuff's done its job, so I would hazard a guess you maybe wouldn't shield this one.
No, I wouldn't have thought so. Yeah, and then Whiscash comes in to wall it, I would have thought.
Yep. Now another thing is I think you waited a bit before choosing your switch because you're trying to whittle down the switch timer as well. It is a skill to know when to do that and when not to do that.
Yeah, you want to when you're in a strong position, if it's close, you want to sort of let it run down so they can switch, and you can be prepared to counter that switch.
Yep, and that's exactly what's happened here. So we are constantly lining up the Lantern against the Noctowl. And the Whiscash against the Magneton, so he's always playing at a disadvantage in whichever Pokemon he decides to go with.
For sure, yeah.
And it's really hard to break out of these, I must admit, because it's just such a pain.
Yeah, and that's one of the things about Lantern is that its matchups are so polarizing. It's not the sort of thing like Shiftry where a bit of energy and you can power through anything, or Bronzong, a bit of energy, you can power through anything. So it was comfortable winning round 3 in the end, and that was it. So it ended up on a 5-1. So I was chuffed with that. I was really chuffed because I sort of made this team that was a little bit, perhaps a bit suspect, like quite weak to Venusaur, quite weak to Altaria. So I'd sort of gambled a little bit on what I was going to see and what I was not going to see. So I was to go 5-1. I was really pleased with, and especially to play as well as I did. We saw I turned around a fair few bad leads, which was nice.
Yeah. And another thing I noticed as well, I don't think we came across an Altaria in any of your 5 matches, which is perhaps a blessing in some ways.
Absolutely, yeah. I think the only opponent to have one was ORANGEPIKE in round 1, so I sort of got that bad matchup out of the way early. But interesting thing about ORANGEPIKE, actually, he ended up going 5-1 as well, so that was his only loss. Of all the opponents I played, VTENACITY, obviously a very good player. He ended up going 4-2, I believe. He must have tripped up somewhere else. So yeah, ORANGEPIKE ended up being the most successful opponent that I faced on the day, even without the Altaria. So had he perhaps read my team a little differently? Who knows?
I think Tenacity ended up playing Lloyd, and that's where it started to unravel very slightly because so one Lloydie was the eventual victor, I believe.
Yes, it was.
So and they had a nice, pretty little trophy, and and he's hailing from Stoke-on-Trent. Stoke's got quite a good number of strong battlers there.
Definitely.
So, yeah, they're good. He's good, worthy champion, and I think there is a video for his battles as well.
There's one somewhere. Yeah. But Jen came second, and I came third. So we represented Leeds well as well. So
yes,
I was chuffed with that.
Yes, I remember. So for those that don't know, Jen is Miss how do you pronounce her username?
No idea, Miss Havana. That's how I've been going with, but I tend to call her Jen.
Yeah, let's go with that because I don't want to embarrass myself on pronunciation too much. But yeah, Jen's another very strong player. She just what I found very amusing is that she was just quietly in the corner, cracking on with her matches, and then look, I've just come third, and I was like, okay.
Yeah. And the most impressive thing about that was, it was a real stacked tournament. This and Jen did it. Jen came second from being in the bottom half of the draw. So all her matches, if you're in the top half of the draw, you might get a less experienced player in the first round or second round. When you're in the bottom half of the draw, it's top players all the way through. And Jen did that. Jen's loss was to one Lloydie as well, the winner. So yeah, that made it even more impressive. So can't fault it. I'm hoping to be able to go through Jen's run actually in this tournament soon.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
She ran a very different team to me. I think we only ran the Noctowl in common. But that was one of the nice things about this cup. You could build a team around anything really. You could make a lot of different things work. And yes, there were well-defined roles, like there was the Flyer, the Mud Boy, the Steel, the Fairy. But there was options within that, and they all had slight nuances, and you could sort of pick the one that suited your style of play.
Yeah, for sure. I was sort of like, just looking at this very final matchup, who would run, Togekiss? No, you'd think Fairy, most people running Wigglytuff, but no, Togekiss can do the job as well as this. And Alolan Ninetales, which was a very interesting and spicy pick that did Tenacity very well. So yeah, no, that's just one case in point, and all in all, really great meta. I feel really affordable, and the tournament was like very sizable numbers as well. So I was quite proud of how it all went down.
You should be. It was a great day. It was a real good day. Like you say, always good to mix with other people. I think there's a few people there like Phil, Jim Bob, and Jamnat, and Azwikachu and Hawkeye who I'd met a couple of times before, either at the first AllStars meetup or in London's Finest Sinister. So it's always nice to sort of periodically keep up with these these people. You can talk online, but it's not the same as it's going to someone and shaking their hand and having a beer with them, as you say. So it's a good thing.
We are in PvP, and with these tournaments, we are all a family in a way, but bonded by our love of the game and our love of competition. And with just taking away the PvP aspect of it, the whole concept of Pokemon Go was to encourage people to meet up, to make friends and whatnot. I've seen, with my own eyes in many communities, both my own locally and the ones in London and elsewhere in the Northwest. There's people who become lifelong friends. I know friends who have found partners as a result of the game, and it's just mad that how a game can change people's social interactions so much. I know we like to sometimes moan about certain aspects of the game with perhaps good reason, but we can't deny the good that has come out of the game, and this PvP is just another aspect on it. It was obviously brought in with Niantic, and now a year later they introduced GBL, but it's been the Silph Arena that's been able to push PvP up until that point as well. So it's again just a great thing, another excuse to meet up, have a social gathering, throw a few battles in there, and just make lifelong friends. Touch wood. So
yeah, absolutely.
For more.
That was beautiful. Let's leave it on that. That was lovely sentiment, and I can't wait to get back to the. Can't wait to get back to the in-person tournaments. I know over lockdown we've picked up a fair few new players who've only ever experienced the remote ones, so it'll be good to get all those involved. I know there's a few players in Leeds certainly who've got into it, and then Phil is doing God's work in Huddersfield. He's got so many new players involved through Huddersfield, so hopefully Huddersfield can make a go of it when the in-person ones come back. But let's see.
Touch wood. Yeah, touch wood. Thanks for having me.
No, of course. Thanks for coming on. We'll hope to get some of your footage on someday soon.
I'll let you know when I start playing well.
Brilliant. Right. Catch you later, mate.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.